Hello and welcome to Bread of Life, a daily devotional program which each week features a different area pastor. Our speaker for this week is Pastor Adam Soderberg of Hartford.
This past week on the Bread of Life, I talked about how far too often Christians are seen as somber and serious all the time, and that's just sad. That although I know Solomon wrote, "For everything there is a season, a time to be born and a time to die," he also wrote there was a time to laugh and a time to dance. And we need to dance more. We need to laugh more. But the question that came to my mind was, where do all such preconceived notions about believers come from in the first place? And unfortunately, the answer was, all too often, we earn them. First of all, we need to know that the world is predisposed against Christians. How do I know this? Remember when Jesus was tempted in the desert? The devil took him up to the top of a mountain and revealed to him all the kingdoms of the world and said in Luke 4, "I will give you the glory of these kingdoms and authority over them because they are mine to give to anyone I please. I will give it all to you if you will worship me." Jesus resists the temptation, quoting Deuteronomy, saying, "The scriptures say you must worship the Lord your God and serve only him." But did you notice? He doesn't correct Satan. He doesn't say, "The kingdoms of the world don't belong to you." He doesn't question or challenge that rather bold statement at all. Instead, in John 12, Jesus confirms the devil's claim, saying, "The time for judging this world has come when Satan, the ruler of this world, will be cast out." On top of this, Paul reminds us that the fall in Eden was not limited to humanity. Romans 8:22 says, "For we know that all creation has been groaning as in the pains of childbirth right up to the present time." So the world fell, not just Adam and Eve. It's a fallen world, and it is ruled by Satan. One only has to read a newspaper or watch TV to realize that. Which is why Paul says in Romans 12, "Don't copy the behaviors and customs of this world." Why would we want to? Why copy the behaviors and customs of a fallen world ruled by Satan? So we don't. And because we don't, we stick out. We do not follow or support any decisions our fallen culture or society chooses to make if it's disobedient to God or His Word, and as such, we are often bullied and harassed. Jesus warned us in John 15, "The world would love you as one of its own if you belonged to it, but you are no longer a part of the world. I chose you to come out of the world, so it hates you." As I said, the world is predisposed against us. We need to be aware that we are under a microscope. It's a tough gig being a Christian. In this fallen world, being faithful and obedient to God is regularly categorized as intolerant and judgmental. That's why Peter tells us we should always be ready to explain our Christian hope, but in a gentle and respectful way. We need to be ever vigilant about everything we say or do. After all, Jesus said we are His disciples, and we will prove it to the world by how we love each other and love our neighbors as ourselves. How do we do that? St. Francis of Assisi said years ago, "Preach the gospel constantly. If necessary, use words." That means as ambassadors for Christ, before we speak or act, we should always ask ourselves, does this honor God? We have to try not to feed any preconceived notions or give this fallen world any ammunition to use against us. Instead, let's be known as the loving, gentle, respectful, helpful, compassionate, and fun people in this world, not of this world. We have every reason to be joyful. Jesus has risen and left our sin behind in the tomb. So let's honor God by laughing, loving, and living like it. I'm Pastor Adam Soderberg of South Congregational Church, Main Street in Hartford. God bless, and have a great day.
You've been listening to Pastor Adam Soderberg of Hartford, our speaker for this week on Bread of Life, a program to encourage you from God's Word.